Hey everyone, welcome back to Seven Shepherds Farm. Today we're going to tell you about a little incident we had over the weekend where we had some of our ewes with the lambs get out into another pasture. They got over a high tensile fence, 2 strands. They've been in that pen 3 times now and they've never messed with it, but as they say, the grass is greener on the other side, and it most definitely is this time of year. So we're going to show you kind of where they got out and what we're going to do about that situation. But for now, we're at our home farm, and we are going to move our sheep into a bottom field so that we can do some fence work on our own place today. So follow along. We're just going to kind of take you through the day, show you what happened over the weekend, and show you a few moves. Okay, so this is like the perimeter at our home place. This is the creek crossing where we get to the lease farm. So across this creek, the 2 strands of electric over there, that's the lease farm that we manage and have sheep on. So this is our home place. This is what our sheep have been held in by for a week now. Just this 1 strand of electric crossing this creek. And we are getting ready to turn them into this bottom field over here. It is 3 strands of high tensile, but that's because we were in like a county program and that's what they required. But this is where they're going today, out into this bottom field, so that we can work on some fence over here at our own place.
Yeah, she's too scared. Yeah, she's too scared. Go, girl.
All right, there's our sheep. Should be good again for a while in this bottom field down here. So now we'll take you to the lease farm and give you an update on those ewes with babies. Okay, to catch everybody up on like what happened over the weekend, these sheep with lambs were down like in this big green bottom field. We were unrolling some hay for them every couple of days. We were feeding them alfalfa every 3 days, and then they still had like some stockpile at the top of the bottom field that they could graze on. We split the bottom field in half. Typically we would split it into like 4 sections, but just judging by the amount of sheep we had and the amount of grass we had left, we chose to just split it in half this time. So they were in one half of the bottom field for a week, and again we were unrolling hay, feeding them the soy hulls, feeding them some alfalfa and dry hay and stockpile, and they were happy for a whole week on the one side of the bottom field. And then Friday we moved them to the other half of this big bottom field, and Friday and Saturday, like I said, they did fine. Friday night we fed them some more alfalfa after we had fed dry hay that morning, and Saturday everything looked happy and fine. And Sunday after church we came out with the kids to check everything. We try not to do a lot on Sundays, like that's kind of our one day of rest for the week. And so we were just going to go out and check everything, make sure everything had water, make sure everything looked good. And we came down the hill from our house and we see sheep everywhere in this small bottom field at the lease farm. And we're like, uh-oh, they don't belong there. They must have got a fence, must have fallen down somewhere. So we hurried up and shut a couple gates so they couldn't get any further than the field that they were in. And we checked all the fences. There were no fences down. So that means we had about 50 sheep jump an electric 2-strand fence that they've never jumped before, never messed with before. All we can think of is that small bottom field that they got into did have quite a bit of grass growing on it already. And so, like I said, grass is always greener on the other side. That's where they want it to be, so that's where they went. It's really frustrating for us because we really want these sheep to be broke to hot wire. We don't want them thinking they can jump it. We don't want them running through it. We want them broke to a hot wire. That's how we manage our animals, is by moving them through a hot wire. So the closest thing that we could think of yesterday was to call them up here in this feed barn area. This is like where we used to feed cows, right there in that hoop barn. We used to feed cows there. And so we thought, okay, let's just move them up here into this feed barn area until we can figure out what we want to do with them tomorrow, feed them a couple bales. I allotted area for Sunday, figure out what we're going to do with them. We fed them a couple bales in here, put a water tank in here for them. And after driving the farm, we have decided that there really just isn't anywhere where we think they're going to be happy right now. There's grass sprouting up everywhere. There's grass coming on in all the fields, and they're just going to take those bad habits and they're going to try to get wherever they want to go, if that's the kind of habits they're going to have. Again, we've only had these sheep since October. They were exposed to electric at their old farm, but I don't know. I guess we're just lucky at our home place. They don't even touch a 1 strand of hot wire. They will barely even run through the gate when we reel the fence up. So that's kind of what we're used to. We're not used to anything trying to get out. So instead of like promoting their bad habits, letting them do whatever they want to do, we don't want them to walk all over us, so we are dry lotting them for the time being. March 30th, we do have to give the lambs their second round of Covaxin 8. We decided to vaccinate these lambs whenever we sorted them off from the yearling ewes. That's another thing we've never done. We've never vaccinated lambs before, but with running this large of an operation, we just thought maybe it would be a smart thing to vaccinate them. So that's what we did. And March 30th, we have to give them their second round of that. So we're hoping to be able to dry lot them, feed them hay and soy holes, and then April 1st, turn them out. We think we'll have enough grass by then that's growing strong, and we can start rotating them daily like we like to do. But this is the only group we're having issues with getting out. The yearlings, the group of 800, they're doing great. Nothing's getting out back there. I'll take you back there in a second. Ours aren't getting out, but these are. And like I said, we just need to stop that behavior from happening. And obviously, we don't think they're going to be happy anywhere. They're just going to want into the other pens. So this is what they're going to get for about 3 weeks, unless we change our mind. I don't know. We kind of change our mind a lot. So check back next week and see if we're still feeding them in the dry lot. But for now, that's what they're getting. Get back. All right, fill everybody in on our lamb growth here. I mean, look at this brown one right here. She is huge already. So it's really nice to see these things growing nicely. Here's another really nice pair over here. Kind of show you around while he's feeding this other bale. This little goat looking one right here is really cute too. Anyways, we're really happy with the way these things have grown up and continue to grow. Oh. Got a couple little makeshift sheep feeders we made. We don't have any sheep feeders that we bought, so we just tried to make some out of old round bale feeders. So today they're going to get these 2 round bales and the round bale feeders, and then we are going to also throw out some alfalfa for them for the day. So we want to make sure they keep their weight up. I mean, we're trying to breed these things. They've got big lambs on them, so we just got to make sure they keep their condition. Yeah, basically spring can't come fast enough in our opinion. We got to get this grass growing to turn these things out, but for now we're just kind of have to wait it out. There's definitely a couple that are looking, more thin than we'd like in here, but I just feel like we're doing everything we can for the time being, giving them all that we can think of to keep their condition. So. Okay, so this is that large back portion of the farm that we got fenced off early last week. We moved them in here last Monday evening. So this is about 80 acres back here. We call it the back 80, just 80 acres at the back side of the farm. There's a little woods here that runs in the middle, but mostly it's all open up here. So this is kind of the top of the hill where they've been a lot, but as you can see, there's a lot of grass in here. This has not been grazed in over a year with cattle, so there was a lot for them to pick around on back here. This particular area of the farm grows a lot of warm season grasses. They planted some years ago and it just really took off back here. So a lot of dry warm season grasses from last year, but just a lot of like forage under the dry stuff as well. So they've been happy back here ever since we moved them last Monday. Before we move them back here again, we will hopefully have this divided into 4 sections. So their only water source back here is a pond right here in this woods. So we need to put a drinker off the pond and then lead all 4 fences to that drinker, and then we can divide this 80 acres into 4 sections. So that's our goal before we get them back here again. But for now, we were just happy to have them back here grazing on stockpile while we focus on other things. So anyways, like I said, they seem happy back here. There's a lot to pick around on. We're hoping to leave them in here for another week before we have to move them. I'll show you in here in just a minute where they're at right now. There's like a 40-acre bottom field too that's below this back 80, and so they can get down into there as well, but we will fence that off too, so they won't be able to get in there all the time whenever they're back here. But for now, like I said, we just got all 120 acres fenced off, the perimeter, and so they're back here for now. In that 40-acre bottom field, there's a pond there too, so that's another drinking source for that bottom portion. But anyways, this is where they're at. This is that smaller group of 800, and this is where they're going to stay for at least another week until we start rotating them somewhere else. So it's just been nice to not have to feed them hay and have them happy back here. Okay, so this is like that large open 40-acre bottom field that these yearlings are in. There's about 800 of them out here, and you can see they like being in this short open area, but they do spend a lot of time up in this back 80 area as well. So anyways, here's the yearlings. Lots of them are kind of showing big bellies, so that's good. Hopefully we have a bunch of lambs at the very end of April. But this group is doing really well back here. They're not trying to get out like the older ewes were, so that's good. They seem happy back here. Hey Bjorn. Hi buddy. Hi buddy. But anyways, still have the rams in with them. We put the rams back in last week before last, I can't remember. Anyways, to try to clean up anything that didn't get bred the first time. So they're in for cleanup duty. But everything seems to be doing well in here. So we have 3 separate groups right now, I guess. We got the ewes with babies, and then we got this group of yearlings, 800 yearlings, and then we've got our group at home. So we did have to grab one of our dogs from home to bring over to this rental farm to have an adult dog with the ewes with babies along with those pups. So anyways, otherwise we have 3 adult dogs with this group of 800 as well. They have a lot of ground to cover right now since this isn't divided off. But anyways, well, thanks for following along today and give you a little feed update. We're just trying to survive until the grass grows enough to start moving these things every day. We're ready to start rotating, but for now we're just trying to hold them over for a few weeks until that time comes. But all right, later this week we are gonna make kind of an interesting video about buying sheep versus cattle, why we made that decision, kind of go in deeper into the economic portion of it, and just kind of go over some scenarios. If you're interested in buying livestock right now, maybe what would be a good choice for you. So check in later this week and be ready for that video. We think it'll be kind of interesting to go over our decision and maybe help anybody else that might be wanting to make a financial decision on buying livestock at this time. So anyways, thanks for following along on 7 Shepherds Farm, and we'll see you later this week.